a video that I've been having in the back of my peripheral for a while, right? But it's the insane true story of Hollywood's royal shaman. And this video, this is my commentary, my reaction, right? This is by Scott Carney. He had posted this video, but it is about the Hollywood shaman, Derek. And you guys, my glasses are crooked. That's okay. But you guys probably heard of him, right, in Hollywood. So my whole thing is, do you believe in these type of powers? Yes, I believe in these powers. I believe that they are demonically inspired. And his story is very interesting because you can tell as he begins to tell the story that it traveled through the bloodline. So it was a bloodline. It was a tradition there. Moving forward, fast forward to how he became a shaman, and the reason why he is a shaman today, working in Hollywood. He is working his demonic art, his demonic craft, and it has been passed down through his bloodline through generations. So my whole thing is he's doing what the magic is supposed to do, and it's quite lucrative. But then we're going to get into it. I see some things along the way because witchcraft is never on anybody's side. It's always a trick. It's always a trap. It's always a snare. It's always a tag along to keep you along. It's always a ailment and infliction of the demonic realm of hell. Whether it's a disease, whether it's a situation that happens in your family, like I'm saying, a tragedy. It's like something is going to crop up because you have to feed the deity, right? That you are either invoking for whatever you're requesting of it, right? So whatever spell or incantation, these things have to be fed. They want something in return besides just homage or thank you for reaching out to me. And no, they're not gonna leave you alone. So it's neither here nor there. We're gonna get into it about this story because I think it's quite comical too, because also there's a scripture, I forgot what it was, because I don't have my Bible in front of me, but I'm just thinking as I'm running through this information with this video that, you get fooled by your own magic, your own power, right? The Lord, he leaves you to your own devices after a while when you turn away. So you're going to see this and then you're going to see like the people, the circle that he was around, they believed and tapped into this too. They believed in this type of thing. So what I'm trying to say is like Satan blinded them all and it was just one big dumb party. So it's neither here nor there. We're going to get into it. All right. So here we go without further ado, because yeah. Wow.
Shaman, I have the ability to make things. You know what I'm here to say to you, right?
I do not.
I'm half reptilian.
You're what?
As a shaman, I have the ability to make things happen to your body that I want to happen.
You do?
Spirit shock his body with uncontrollable laughter at 10,000.
Okay, we're shocking their bodies.
Shock his body with uncontrollable laughter at 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, 70,000.
How high can it go, you ask? Well, there's always another level.
I did cross the line. I should have never sucked his
This is Durek Verret, or Shaman Durek to his Hollywood clients. He's a self-proclaimed sixth generation, previously the third generation shaman from Sacramento, California. He's married to a Norwegian.
He from the Bay, y'all.
Princess. He counts Gwyneth Paltrow among his closest friends and clients, and he says he's a wizard with magical powers who can turn atoms and reverse aging. Whatever the hell that means. Now, if you're thinking that this guy sounds like some sort of hybrid species of space lizard from the Andromeda Galaxy, well, that's probably because you've seen him on Instagram.
And then the other is I'm Andromedian. I'm from Andromeda.
Visitors essentially mated with Earth women.
Now, I spent a lot of time covering people who sell wellness products that don't work, supplement companies, breathwork gurus, and usually the story is pretty simple. Someone finds a gap in the market, fills it with something that sounds scientific, and then makes a lot of money. Durek Verrett takes that pattern to a whole nother level, because Verrett isn't just making suckers out of Hollywood. He's a modern remake of the spiritual grift that inhabited the Reagan White House.
Nancy Reagan said, as she said before, that she turned to California astrologer Joan Quigley after her husband was shot and wounded by John Hinckley, that she heard Quigley had forecasted.
I also affected definitely the relationship between the superpowers because of my reading of Gorbachev's horoscope.
The question isn't whether...
Wait. Because you guys don't want to believe this. First of all, I want to tell you, Hillary Clinton said that she channeled spirits. Sorry, y'all, my glasses crooked. For information. So these things have been passed on. These things have been adopted. And then you see how our children's children, well, he's from a different country, I think. But you see how, well, America, foreign people, and I'm not coming against anybody, but foreign people, America, America, land of the free, America, we can build, we can do anything in America. Okay, America is not free, people. Okay, spoiler alert. But I'm trying to say is, he had some type of American dream. See, he had this witchcraft that was adopted, that was given to him, right? Okay, how can I use my magic to be lucrative? Okay, thanks for America and our media and, everything that we got modernized or whatever. Okay, it's like ET phone home. It's like Connect. Okay, this is where I can be lucrative with my powers. Okay, the elites, the politicians, the powers that be, the rulers, the humans that run the earth. Okay, powers. Some whole thing is he went right. Look, the demons sent his butt right where he was going to make that demonic money at. In Hollywood, where they practice all of these things anyway. So, I'm just saying, like, stupid is what stupid is, but okay. Okay, come on, y'all.
Is a fraud. It's how a fraud becomes a key advisor to the most influential people in the world. Telling this story is a lot like watching a train wreck in slow motion. So, buckle up.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside.
Sorry, y'all. They threw a wrench. Hold on. Let's get through the commercial. 3, 2, 1, go.
Today's episode is sponsored by Henson Shaving. When I was a young man, I saw shaving.
Sorry, y'all.
The heck vibrant. Or use the code.
And August 2024, the Princess of Norway, where he married. So this story kind of took over my life for a little bit, and it's not just because it was splashed across the pages of Vanity Fair, but also because he had his own Netflix show where he married, and I cannot believe this is true, the Princess of Norway.
The couple.
Hold on, y'all. I just want to say, I'm eating too, but you see how them powers was prospering him? Have you guys, I always bring this up in certain videos like this, but I got to bring it up. Have you guys saw the movie The Gate 2? Go watch The Gate 2. Yes, old school movie, right? Horror movie, right? But it's not really blood and gore. It's like occultic things, right? So, The Gate 2, right? So, my thing to say is he was really pressing into these powers. They was being beneficial and lucrative for him. Look, this is why people jump into this, because they want the desires of their heart. It's like, these demons to them working these powers or whatever. It's like you're a genie, give me what I want, the desires of my heart, and I'll work for you, or I'll give my soul to you, or I'll sacrifice for you, or whatever the case may be, right? This is what it all boils down to. But this is what this man was indoctrinated into. He was inducted into this thing through his bloodline, and he crossed through the states doing this, and it's just weird. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet, but I'm just saying, look at the demonic powers, but it will backfire. These things, it's not for free. All right.
who tied the knot in August 2024 are featured in Netflix's recent documentary Rebel Royals, An Unlikely Love Story.
I wanted to find out how such an obvious fraudster convinced legitimately important people that he was their spiritual salvation, despite being a big bag of red flags.
The first thing you need to know about Durek Verrett is that his origin story has never been the same twice. In some versions, he grew up wealthy. In another, he scraped by. And he is always sure to note that just about everyone in his family is absolutely a shaman.
My great-grandmother was a medicine woman by the name of Mamal. She was from Africa. And my grandfather was a Native American Blackfoot Indian. My great-great-great-great-grandfather and then grandmother, from generations down, they were shamans in the tribe, in the Kumi tribe and the Yoruba tribe. And then it was just passed down from one generation to the next until it got to me.
It's too bad that his mother says that this is all hogwash. She has publicly said multiple times that there is not a single shaman in the family tree. And in true shamanic form, Durek claims that the press just got to her, and then he threatened to sue his mother to keep her quiet.
Wow.
What we do know is that in 1991, when he was 16, he was convicted of felony arson and trespassing, and after his release in 1993, according to several news reports, he was arrested three more times, including for domestic violence. And perhaps...
so I guess he got a little pyro in him, too. He got a little pyro demon in him.
That's because none of this is a great character reference. He has yet another squirrely origin story for his chosen status.
When I was 29 years old, I woke up one morning and my kidneys gave out.
The exact details are fuzzy. Sometimes this happened in the jungles of Belize, and others it's in Los Angeles. But the end result is a heroic journey from death to resurrection.
I suffocated to death and died.
In some versions of the story, he was in a coma for a month.
You know what I'm tripping off of, too? How he ended up from the jungle to L.A. to modernize L.A., okay? Los Angeles, fallen angels,
and even on life support.
After I came out of my coma, after months, I was told I was never going to walk again, and then I was paralyzed. And I had my ancestors were there in the room with me in spirit form, and they told me that I could heal my legs, but it was going to take me some time, but I had to be comfortable being in a wheelchair.
And finally comes the return with special powers.
I already identified with being Shaman Durek, but it became more clear when I came back from dying.
Do you know what else magical deity figures can do? Heal themselves, naturally. According to him, he healed himself with the use of spirits that surrounded him and brought him back from the brink of death.
So my brain recovered. And then I did it to my body. And the only thing that didn't recover, even my liver came back, was my kidneys. And my kidneys, I asked them and they said, but you're a wounded healer. Something has to be sacrificed.
Unfortunately, these powers, or let's be honest, the acute hospital care that he was receiving, failed to cure his actual renal failure, which is the only...
And demons do heal. These deities do heal. But you see how these deities was bold? They was up front with him. They was like, you got to get this up. Right? Like they told, excuse me, I'm eating. They told him in order to move forward, you gonna have to agree and give us this, what we want. See? You gotta feed him. You gotta feed him.
Provable medical condition that he has. After that, he needed to be on dialysis for about 8 years until he crowdfunded $100,000 for kidney surgery and then received a transplant from his sister Angelina, an organ that his body then rejected just a few years later. Okay, so while the healing powers turned out to be bunk, he still took a...
You know why it was rejected? Because it was witchcraft from the beginning. It's the infliction of the spirit who he tapped into in the beginning for whatever reasons, like, that he's into, the witchcraft or whatever. I'm saying, like, you mess with these things, now you're in debt to them, and then they're unclean spirits too. So it's like a thorn in your side, like they mimic like Christ, like, you know how the angel of the Lord left a thorn, I believe, in Jacob's side, right? Okay, same thing with the demonic. You got to pay. They got to leave a thorn in your side. You already gave them access, so now they gotta latch on to you some type of how in a way to make you continue to come back. You get what I'm trying to say? All right.
A page from the Guru Playbook and began to travel the world, collecting spiritual insights that he could bring back to, well, his paying customers.
I moved to Israel, learned how to speak Hebrew. I moved to Palestine, then I went to Egypt, then I was in Turkey, and then getting into Tibetanism and getting into Buddhism and getting the Gohanzen and chanting Namaho Renge Kyo. And that's how Shaman Durek came about.
Okay, so you've heard the word shaman here quite a bit so far, and you might be asking yourself, what the hell is a shaman anyway? It seems like these days, anyone who does an ayahuasca ceremony and owns a few feathers can call themselves one, which is a fair observation because there's obviously no licensing board for shamans after all. But I do have a little insight into shamanic stuff because before I was a journalist, I was a medical anthropologist, and I've met with shamans both in...
You do got to get initiated. You got to get inducted, indoctrinated. You do because shamanism, it works with a lot of different other religions all in one, you know? All right.
Tibet and Peru. And the term actually derives from the Tungusic languages in Siberia and translates roughly to one who sees. And it's come to describe similarities in diverse religious traditions the world over that correspond to holy individuals who can access something like a spirit world. And perhaps the main problem with the term is that it's just so broad that anyone can take advantage of it for their own purposes, while claiming some vague, usually culturally appropriated mystical identity. And in Verrett's case, he boasts about his shamanic superpowers.
I have the ability that I can go through your psyche right now and figure out what you're thinking. I can listen to your thoughts right now.
What Durek teaches that he's able to look at how fast...
But that's not him, that's the demon through him.
You blink, or how you stand, or the way you talk, or the way you breathe, or the way you shake your arms while doing YouTube videos, which allows him to give a full picture of your health through his spiritual senses.
Once we understand that, then we can start to make sense of how you got sick and why you're sick and the continuous decline of your health is continuing.
Now, of course, relying on a spiritual explanation is a great way to deny the existence of material explanations that diseases could start from, like bacteria or viruses or genetic defects. It also conveniently makes him, and only him, the route to someone's personal healing. All he needs to do is convince someone else, someone famous, to buy his grift, and then he's off to the races. And here's what he figured out, and I mean he really figured it out with precision, is that in the wellness industry, credibility is a product. Like any product, if you know how to source it cheaply and mark it up, well, then you can get very, very rich. And the first person to sell him that credibility was Gwyneth Paltrow. Paltrow features him on the Goop website. It's our health and pseudoscience wellness platform. And at this point, it's still one of the most powerful endorsement engines in the entire wellness industry. And Paltrow calls Durek her, quote, light in shining armor. The celebrity cosign was magic in its...
Okay, now, what's the opposite of that?
own right. His client list exploded at the speed of the internet. He was soon ministering to the likes of Selma Blair and Chris Pine and James Vanderbeek and Rosario Dawson and Dave Asprey and Nina Dobrev. And once you have a client list like that, nobody goes back to...
See, those are willing vessels, because these are the elites. These are the people that mix and mingle with spirits freely. They accept this thing, they believe in this thing, they operate in this thing. They're in how do you say it? They're in partnership. Yeah. So it's just like a big old cesspool, and like I said, these people are conduits. So yeah, like once he lit the wick, the spark, it took off. Like the fire, it took off. Like everybody. Have you guys ever seen the movie Who is that with Denzel Washington? What movie is that? Y'all know with Azaziel, Fallen. Okay, the transfer of spirits. Remember how Denzel, he was tracking down a serial killer and or murder, but it had the spirit of an ancient deity by the name of Azaziel. So when he came to the illumination, to the awareness, right, that he's not working with natural powers, that it is something supernatural from the unseen realm, right, he began to operate in a different, it wasn't him, he was working from his spirit, right? And we noticed the movie portrayed transfer of spirits. Whoever was open, whoever was willing, whoever believed in the same thing, whose ever vibration and or frequency, electricity, where were you at your, can I say equilibrium, but your homeostasis, your conscience, your state, right, as a person. This determined whether the deities had access to the people. And you saw in the movie Fallen, like, it was transferring. Spirit went from here to there, but it was recognized by Denzel by the same language, by the same patterns, right? That the unseen disembodied spirit was presenting, letting off, knowing, letting Denzel know, I know you too. Like, they was, okay, whatever. But I'm just saying, all right, come on.
Check your credentials. That proximity to fame allowed him to sell access to ordinary spiritual seekers at really high markups.
Dealing with stress? Do this shamanic hack. Hands face up. Uba, 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 uba. And your stress will be gone.
See, don't do things like that, folks. Don't say things. Don't agree. Don't operate on the same vibration and frequency and connect with things like this. Otherwise, you probably will experience some type of, some type of pull.
His core product is a private session that runs up to $2,000, in which he connects to your spirit to alleviate addiction, depression, anxiety, physical illness, really whatever you want. And I just want to show you what that looks like in practice.
Let's go ahead and create a pulse line into his body. Good. Spirits, go ahead and pull the energy out of his system and yawn it out of his mouth. You heard what he just
said. Okay, let's hear that again.
Into his body. Good.
Hold on, y'all. That was funny because he just said, see, he let you know the power that he's working with. He just told you.
Physical illness, really whatever you want. And I just want to show you what that looks like in practice.
Let's go ahead and create a pulse line into his body. Good. Spirits, go ahead and pull the energy out of his system and yawn it out of his mouth. Good. And spirits, access the energy grids inside of his body where he's holding it on. Create a spiral inside of his stomach. And spirits, go ahead and cough the poison out of his system that's affecting his stomach. Good. Spirits, increase it. Cough him even deeper, spirits, and pull the poison all the way out of his rib cage, medial to his spine. And release him even more. Cough him stronger, spirits. That's it. Keep cleaning him. Cough him even stronger. Good. Spirits, move the toes of his feet. Move the muscles inside of his legs. Accelerate the energies inside of his body. Increase it. Good. Open up the energy axis in the back of his spine in his C2 vertebrae, run it down to his thoracic, and cough that poison out of his system as well.
I mean, to me, this looks like bang standard stage hypnosis. The kind of events where a hypnotist gets ordinary people to fall asleep or dance like a chicken in front of all their friends. As the hypnotist Ben Kale explains,
he was messing with that kundalini and he was playing with them chakras. Ooh, wee.
Hypnotic trance is nothing more than a person holding the belief that he or she is being controlled by the hypnotist. If that's true, it means that hypnosis is just a persuasion process, and that the reason that these hypnotic inductions are working is because they look convincing enough to work.
Control can look spooky, but it really is that simple. And Durek's grift starts long before someone starts shaking the bad spirits out of their toes. It starts all the way back
Yeah.
to the time when he starts convincing people of his various origin stories. Once someone accepts one crazy, contradictory idea, it's ever easier for him to convince them that the next one is also true until his clients literally pay him to shake their bodies in private sessions. And what is a more fertile ground for people falling for that shiny veneer of confidence than Hollywood? Well, it turns out that there is one other place, and it's not one that you would expect. It's the Norwegian royal family. In 2022,
Wow.
Durek Verrett got engaged to Princess Martha Louise of Norway, which is an outcome about as bizarre as I can think of. It's like a complete transmogrification from the world of celebrities into the landed hereditary titles passed down to us by the feudal system. It carries centuries of European symbolic authority, which also meant that it involved the spectacle of a royal wedding.
I would like a royal wedding because I'm going to be a royal.
Is this story getting insane enough for you? To reflect on how far we've come, a convicted arsonist who invented the idea that he came from a line of shamans failed to heal his own chronic illness, only to get sucked up into the Hollywood glitterati and ultimately gets married to a freaking Norwegian princess. Like, seriously, WTF? Is he the American dream, or is he the epitome of an American flim-flam night?
He is living the American demonic dream. That's them spirits that was feeding and grossing off of him. Like, that's what it was.
Anyway, in August 2024, they married at a fjord in Geiranger, in a ceremony that lasted 4 days. They sold the photo rights to Hello magazine, and a Netflix documentary crew filmed the whole thing.
Marrying into the royal family, it's just very, very surreal.
And if you're wondering how someone of European royal ancestry ended up with a shaman from LA, well, they met through the predictable woo-woo circles. Martha Louise was always sort of a weirdo in the Norwegian family line, though perhaps not as much of a black sheep as the actual crown princess. I think her name's Merritt, who traded dirty stories with Jeffrey Epstein, famously writing to him that, quote, Paris is good for infidelity. Scandinavians make better wife material, which is kind of gross. And there's also the matter of the crown princess's son, Marius Borg Holby, who was found guilty of 2 counts of rape and 32 other offenses and sentenced to 4 years in prison. Okay, now that I'm all out loud, Martha Louise seems actually...
Because I just want to say, let me remind you, these people believe in these things. So, then you see the fruits. Like, eventually you see the fruits because you are that thing that you worship. Okay, let's continue.
Obtain when it comes to Norwegian royalty. All she did was open up an alternative therapy school that teaches clairvoyance and how to communicate with angels and the dead. Wow. And I guess that's the better kind of black sheep when you got a family like that. Anyway, Norwegian royals are obviously newsworthy, and it's predictable that Durek faced a lot of bad press, mostly in Norway, which is why you never heard about any of it.
No, it's a trip. It's a trip how those high-ranking deities that were working in Durek, those demonic contracts, how they sought out the best candidates to get those demonic contracts fulfilled. Like, that's like currency, the destinies. And then he was networking with other people too who gravitated to him, and so he introduced them into the spirits, the spiritism, the mysticism, just whatever that the deities wanted from the human, which is to host, which is to leech off the human, which is to be alive, which is to be working in our world, right? Not to be in dry land, roaming to and fro, seeking whom they may devour, thirsty and dead, because that's in all actuality with these spirits. They're dead, they're thirsty. That's why they're roaming to and fro on the earth, seeking whom they may devour, right? They need a life force. They need a life system. So I'm just trying to say is, when he touched into these powers, it's just a trip how they found the highest thing. Like, he must have been working this demonic. He must have been doing good for these for Satan, huh? Because Satan was giving him everything that he wanted and even more. All right, let's continue.
Anyway, the princess called it all a smear campaign and a vendetta against him and her. And the war waged online with suspicious Wikipedia page edits and allegations of bot farming and fake followers and all of the stuff that's pretty much par for the course for modern crisis PR. And still, the Norwegian press calls him Rasputin.
It's easy to call someone a fraud when they make a certain amount of money and they live a certain life.
Anyway, the upshot of all of this is that Martha ultimately relinquished her remaining royal duties and maybe her title too. I'm actually not sure about that. But she wanted to focus on her alternative medicine business with Durek.
Obviously, there have been comparisons with Prince Harry and Meghan. My fiancé, Shaman Durek, and the Norwegian people, I guess, and everybody has decided that it's best for me to step down.
Y'all got it.
Wow.
Hold
on, y'all. Look, they was like, you need to step down. Let's get through this commercial. 3, 2, 1, go.
His version of the whole Meghan Markle situation, but it is not quite the whole story. Let's talk a little bit about his relationship history, because it's just as colorful as his shamanic ascendancy. Here are the highlights. In 2005, he entered a sham marriage with a Czech woman named Zaneta Marzlakova. When she filed for divorce 3 years later, he reported her to immigration authorities as an illegal resident, claiming that she used him to obtain a green card. Getting your ex-wife deported is some pretty cold stuff.
That's diabolical.
Anyway, before Martha, Durek had also been in an 8-year-long relationship with a man named Hank Greenberg, who he met in a support group for gay men. And this doesn't shock me at all. The first time I saw a picture of Durek, I assumed he was gay, and he, of course, says that he identifies as gay, and for years he imagined that he would never end up with anyone but a man.
When I first met him, I was like, oh, yeah, he's gay. Like, he has a lot of personality.
But then he met Martha, and everything just changed. Now they describe their love as genderless, and he identifies himself as bisexual.
They call it bisexual. I call it soul sexual. I'm not letting people name me names.
I love that. But what do you think? Maybe he just saw an opportunity when it presented itself. Either way, his spiritual grifting has grown to positively royal levels. During the COVID epidemic, of course, he contracted the virus while visiting Norway and was hospitalized and then refused medical treatment and went home. Then he claims that he healed himself using this weird medallion that he calls a spirit optimizer that he sells on his website for $222, which I guess that price is some sort of like spiritual angel number thing. And what is the spirit optimizer, you ask? Well, it's quite a load of nonsense, but I figured that you will enjoy this clip of him describing how it works.
So right now, the SO is communicating to his mind, emotions, and body all the places where he's been holding trauma and releasing it through, and also pulling it from the part of him that feels like he has to hold on to it. So now I'm going to say SO, increase it, and any resistance he has in letting go of the trauma, release it out of his mouth through sounds or deep breath, deep yawn or deep cough or continuous swallow. And as you can hear the groaning coming out.
Did any of that make sense to you? Well, you and me both. Anyway, in his book, and of course he has a book, it's called Spirit Hacking, he says that chemotherapy is a financial scam run by doctors and that casual sex leaves subterranean spirit imprints inside women's vaginas, for which he sells a cleaning exercise. Maybe it looks like a vagina egg. He believes that cancer reflects emotional or spiritual imbalances, but children get cancer because they don't want to be here anymore. Of course, all of this is framed in like wellness woo-woo language, that with him helping people or rescuing them from their illness, every claim is framed in spiritual terms. There's spirits, there's energy frequencies, there's aliens, there's lizard people, rather than medical ones, giving him just enough wiggle room to dodge the medical medical authorities. Not that any of them are watching under Maha anyway. It feels like we live in a world where any spiritual grift, as long as you can say it with a discount code on the internet, is good to go. Which brings us to the part of the story where we have to up the ante a little bit. So let's talk about the sexual assault allegations. In October 2024, a Norwegian magazine called, I'm going to mispronounce this, it's Se Oghur, published an account that Verrett had inappropriately touched a client's genitals without consent during a session. And a former close friend of him, we'll call him Eric, subsequently released voicemails in which Verrett straight up said that he crossed a line.
I have no problem to say that I've crossed the line and made mistakes, Eric. I did cross the line one time with, I did. And it was a mistake, and I'm aware of that mistake. And I did cross the line when pulled out his I should have never sucked his
Yeah, that's quite a mistake.
I thought he was married or something like that. Or you know what I'm trying to say?
And he also brought it on when he
bless you.
pulled out his in the sessions. And yes, probably it wasn't the best time, but it was at the end of the session when he was getting his clothes on.
The most amazing part of having actual recordings of these
and my whole thing is see, when you welcome these other entities, sorry guys, my glasses are crooked, they make you do foul things. Like you end up doing weird stuff, right? Things that you wouldn't normally do as a person if you wasn't in that state, right?
Smells is his spokesperson's explanation that Durek, quote, often draws energy through the lymphatic system in areas around the armpits and groin, and that because his work involves touch, clients sign a legal document consenting to genital contact as, quote, determined by him.
Famous actress came in and basically while I was doing a session with her, tried to have with me and told her she didn't have any panties on. And then another actress tried to do that to me. And then another guy I had a session with, and I was working on his stomach, and he got a hard on. And then he told his wife, and his wife made a big deal about it to my team. And that's the reason why my family and they were all freaked out, because those things were happening. And that's why we put a clause.
The waiver also gives Durek the right to terminate the session if the client, I'm just going to quote this, tries to kiss or touch him, fondle yourself, or get undressed, or try undressing him, or attempt to have intercourse or oral sex with him, or sex with yourself, or threaten him in any way. Okay, so as a general...
So my whole thing is you're running a business, a public business. You're servicing the people, but it's like you're trying to bring back sex, like, you know, because, I mean, like the traffic of selling legally. Like, okay, like, right, this is the oldest profession in the book. So my whole thing is you think that modernized as fast as we are in this society, in this world, you think the police is not up on it, like they don't know, or it's illegal, sir, you can't do that. Like, just because this is your belief and or your religion. Oh, okay, so I want to have sex with people, for a fee, in the privates of my own home, and they're all elites or stars. And you signed a waiver under contract by law to bind this thing that I want to do. And this is my practice, and it's indigenous, but okay, now I want to present it here in America. And it's just all a confliction. Y'all listening to this it's just bad behavior. He wanted to legalize his own bad behavior, you guys. Come on. But he was getting over. He was getting money though. He was doing it.
Rule. If your spiritual guide asks you to sign a contract that mentions any of these things before a ceremony, it's probably a good idea to get a different guru. I mean, this is just as bad as the contract that Brian Johnson gets his employees to sign so that he can sexually harass them during the workday, which I think brings us up to the present. Shaman Durek, or maybe you can call him Prince Durek, is still teaching shamanic courses to anyone who wants to sign up on his website. See? And he's still trying to cure his...
He just took it to front page. Remember back page?
Kidney failure by any means possible. A situation also covered in his Rebel Royals Netflix special.
I happen to be a wounded shaman, so it's not pleasant, but I deal with it.
Not pleasant at all.
Now I'm back on dialysis, and it's been quite an adventure, I'd say, being a wounded healer. because the act.
So for all you nurses out there, he said he's back on dialysis. Well, I know he got his shirt on, but where's his port at? For all you nurses out there, where is his port located? If you frequently get dialysis as a dialysis patient, you're getting infusions or what have you of blood. They're purifying your blood, right? So you have to have a port that is an opening in the body to where the tube can connect to transport. All right, so let's continue. Yeah.
It's so easy for you to want to complain and be like, oh, my life sucks. I can't believe I have to be stuck on a machine for 3 days a week and wait to see if someone will come and offer me a kidney and all of these different things. And do you ask people to give you a kidney, or do you see if someone sees the situation you're in and says, hey, I want to offer you a kidney? But
I'm pretty sure he didn't ask nobody. I'm pretty sure he went straight to them deities that he was already worshiping and serving, and they got that body part illegally, because he already said that his in-law or whoever, he had got her kidney or whatever, but it had got rejected.
Can't focus on that being the total end-all be-all, because I am here to serve humanity.
I'm sure that if anyone in the human race wants to help this guy out with it.
And those devils that keep you sick too. Sorry.
Spare organ, he would be happy to offer you his personal healing experience to make you whole again.
More energy is constantly coming into your body right now.
And that is all I have to say about Shaman Durek right now. Thanks so much for tuning into this ridiculously involved video about Hollywood and Norway's very special spiritual grifter. And many thanks to Katie Ray, who has an amazing newsletter called The Healing Delusion.
I had a lot of fun working on this story, and right now I'm writing about different wellness grifters, and I'd love for you to join me.
You should sign up for it right now.
Okay, so how do you guys feel? Leave your comment down below. But yeah, so Durek Shaman, have you guys heard of him in Hollywood? I saw his face, but I didn't know his history was all convoluted like that. But him marrying the royal, and they were into witchcraft and things of that nature too, so they believed in all of that. And it's just funny how the spirits, the ancestors, that they were with or whatever, had got them hooked up in union, right? And then on top of that, how the Hollywood circle was actually from one person to another person to another person, was interacting with this man and getting bewitched and getting their money stolen, because of this belief system, because these things, they're going to keep on, you're gonna have to keep on feeding these things in order for this power to work. So what happens when the power wears off and you can't perform anymore? Well, we all know what happens. Let evil slay the wicked. These things, they turn against you and they attack you and they try to take you out. So, all right, Durek Shaman and Shaman or whatever in Hollywood. All right. So this is Marona Prophecy. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe for more content like this at Marona Prophecy 597. And shamans, they're around. All right, they're around. And they're working their power and they're demonically healing folks, but we all know that it comes with a price. All right.